Hello all. Today we'll talk about principles of programming languages, lecture 1. So in this video I wanted to tell you about why PPL, why to study PPL, or what are the reasons to study principles of programming languages and the list of programming languages. In the last video, you might got surprised looking at the figure of 2400 and plus programming languages. Now, today in this video, we'll be going to see these programming languages, the names of the programming languages. Now, why PPL is there are many reasons to study about PPL, and here I listed few reasons. The first reason is when you study about different programming languages, we'll gain an understanding of the basic structure of programming languages. So when you are studying language number 1, assume that there are 3 languages. So now I am learning this language. When I'm learning about this language, I'll come to know what data types this language will use, or else using of what constructive statements I can make one successful program, how to solve real time issues using the programming languages. We will be learning this. When I know second programming language also, when I learn second programming language also, then it helps me to understand what are the drawbacks of this language and where I can apply this language. Correct? If I know this language also, I can differentiate easily for which sort of applications I can use this language and for which sort of applications I can use this language. So this study will be come into place when we studied about different programming languages. Now, the very first reason why to study PPL is to gain an understanding of the basic structure of different programming languages. So that basic structure is what? The syntax of the language. So what data types I have to use? What control statements I have to use in my program? So this thing. And second thing, why PPL? To learn the principles underlying all programming languages. If I know the different programming languages, if I learn different principles which are underlined to that language, it is very easy for me to learn a new language. Correct? So, as I have given this example, now if I have some application, but language 1 is not applicable, language 2 is not applicable, then for sure I'll go and see the third language to learn, as these two languages are not applicable to my program or my application. Correct? So learning the principles of different languages will help us to know the different language or learn the new language. And when you are learning different programming languages principles, we'll come to know what different type of programming paradigms are existed. Correct? Now look at this figure, 2400 and plus programming languages. All these languages are belongs to different programming categories. And those different programming categories are functional programming languages, imperative programming languages, object oriented programming languages, and logic programming languages. So whichever figure you are looking at, all these languages will be belongs to either this category or this category or any of one of the category. I wrote some examples over here. Schema is one of the programming language, and this is belongs to functional programming language category. C is one programming language that is belongs to imperative programming language category. And you can list many more languages which can comes under one language category. Look at this image. Now with this you can understand this is what a family tree of languages. From this language you can see one language on the top which is Fortran. So Fortran is the first traditional programming language. Fortran is the first tradition programming language. Fortran basically stands for formula translation. Formula translation. So from the Fortran, when the programmer is using Fortran, they will be going through with some drawbacks. Those programmers will going through with some sort of things which is Fortran cannot do. So whichever we feel it is a drawback in Fortran, that drawbacks will be given to other version, and the languages came into as a new language, which is basic. Basic is what descendant of this Fortran. Algol 60 also descendant. PLI, it is not one, it is I. PLI. PLI is a programming language, and this also, the origin of PLI is Fortran. Now, look at this COBOL. COBOL is common business oriented language. Common business oriented language. And this is one of the language, and this is only to implement business sort of applications. Lisp is what functional programming language. So if you look at all the languages, each and every language is having some parent. Generally you can understand this figure in that way. The features of C are extracted into C++, and C sharp is came from the features of some C++. So what we'll do is, before we introduce a new language, a few features will come from the older languages, before languages. So taking some features of C++, Java, and adding the features into C sharp, and we'll give some additional features to C sharp also. So this is what general languages what we are going to study in PPL. So all these languages we are going to touch. Look at this figure. This image is what genealogy of common high level programming languages. uh, I told you just moment that Fortran is the first programming language. So that was introduced in 1957. So this year, this place we wrote here years. This year will help you out to understand in which year the version is used. So Simula 67, Algol 68, Fortran 77, Ada 83. So these years will help you out to understand that is what the invention of that language or using the language. So Fortran first version, second version. So after some changes, we used to call that as Fortran fourth version. So Fortran fourth version is the language where you can use programs to solve mathematical applications, weather forecast, or such as a sort of applications can be solved using Fortran language. And Algol is of basic algorithmic language. Flowmatic is also one of the language. Lisp, CPL, Simila, Algol, Basic, PLI, Snowball, BCPL, BC, Schema, ML. Here, don't misunderstand. ML is not machine learning. ML is stands for meta language. As far as programming language concept is concerned, ML is meta language. And Miranda, Icon, Common Lisp, C++, Perl. Now you can find some language over here which is trending in the software. Python. Now look at the Java. Java has introduced in 1995, but Python was there before Java comes. So most of us will think Python is nowadays we are using. So Python came recently. No, Python is the older language before Java. So these are what script based languages. Every machine can work it uses virtually to get execution of script based languages. So all these programming languages we are going to study that the principles, what different data types will use, what control statement will use, what different type of implementation takes place, how subprogram will get executed. So these kind of things we are going to talk as part of the syllabus of PPL. And next video we'll see about the programming domains and language evaluation criteria. So this is what the introduction, why PPL, and what are the languages which are there in PPL. Thank you.